In the life of a nation, we're called upon to define who we are and what we believe. Sometimes these choices are not easy. But today, as president, I ask for your support in a decision I've made to stand up for what's right and condemn what's wrong, all in the cause of peace. At my direction, elements of the 82nd Airborne Division, as well as key units of the United States Air Force, are arriving today to take up defensive positions in Saudi Arabia.
Our active duty brothers left, and we had a bunch of reservists that never been activated, had no idea what to expect, had nothing. They were scared to death.
It's one of those things that it kind of just makes, it's like there's highlights in your career, and that was absolutely a highlight for me.
We were flying, that was pretty tough flying, long hours.
Nobody was of the mind that we would ever be mobilized. We were very operational at that time. We were flying operational missions, 11 missions a month to Panama, to Europe, and then presidential support stuff. That was what we all believed that we would be doing for the duration of our career.
American warplanes and warships are also showing the flag in the Middle East. Defense Secretary Dick Cheney has just come back from there. And today, national correspondent Catherine Couric is at the Pentagon this morning. Katie, good morning.
Faith, good morning. The U.S. is flexing its military muscle in Saudi Arabia. Some troops, warplanes, and support equipment already being put in place there.
Phone call from the unit saying that we were going to be mobilized.
All you think about initially is, what do I have to get done before I go and I do this kind of thing. I got up that morning, went to my civilian job, and told them what was going on and that I was being activated. And
I was actually becoming a flight engineer. I was a student flight engineer, and I got qualified right as Desert Storm kicked off. So my first mission out as a qualified was during Desert Storm.
I was early on in my training. I had just gotten qualified, or was just about qualified.
You know, in the early days of the activation, things weren't set up in the system that would, you know, accommodate us. I mean, we slept in the barracks, sometimes 5, 6 to a room. You know, we'd have all our gear because we were carrying a lot of stuff back then. In the room, you couldn't even walk on the floor. You had to walk over your gear to get to your bunk.
Brigadier General Edwin Tenoso commanded the coalition's airlift forces.
And then the deployment of the C-5s, 141s, they all just hauled as much as they could, as fast as they could.
Military and civilian cargo planes delivered 91,000 troops and 72,000 tons of cargo in the month of August alone to places like Riyadh, Jubail, Dhahran.
I was sitting on the ramp in Dhahran when one of the Scud missiles hit. Hit the airfield. I don't think I've ever told them about that. So it's just one of them things. Yeah, it made it a lot more real. I grew up kind of quick after that.
Part of the taxiway, which was very close to where we were parked, that they had all cordoned off and the whole security, and we were on lockdown for quite a while until they resolved to figure out whether we were going to get attacked again. I think it was a great learning experience, and I would actually, it's scary, but once you get through it, you go, I got this. And so I think that just like anything else, once you go through it, a regular mission is just like, oh, okay. And it gives you a level of confidence that maybe you wouldn't have previously had.
Literally, planes would be holding until a plane took off so another plane could land.
You know, with the C-5s and the C-141s, we had a pretty small ramp area. So we'd have 3, 4, 5 C-5s parked up on the taxiway waiting to get into a spot. So, I mean, for us, it was always pretty busy.
Once we were mobilized, those missions were 7 to 14 to 21 days. Yep, so a little bit longer, and then we even had a couple that were out for about a month.
the shortest mission was probably 3 days. And then I think the longest I was ever out was 21 days.
A lot of rolling stock, a lot of palletized cargo, Humvees, a lot of the stuff, armored carriers, obviously food, MREs.
Firefighting equipment, oil well firefighting equipment in, and hauling stuff out. But it just seemed like we were constantly going, constantly going.
And it's still that way today. We fly all the time. So, you know, if you're activated or whatever is going on at the time, you just kind of roll right into it. I mean, granted, the amount of flying was escalated, but, you know, you're still doing the same job and, you know, everything kind of flows.
Tonight, the Kuwaiti flag once again flies above the capital of a free and sovereign nation. We declared that the aggression against Kuwait would not stand.
You come to know the people just for, you know, who they are, not just militarily. I always say that the reserve side of the house, you see a different aspect of people too, because, you know, they're citizen airmen.
Over time, our muscle memory and our battle rhythm started to level out. You know, steep learning curve on the front end, and then we kind of leveled out, and we were able to get the cargo on and off in a more efficient, more expedient way. So we were, you know, had that muscle memory thing going. So
Still fly with a couple of them. There's one or two of us left. They're still flying.
It was an amazing camaraderie. It was unlike anything I'd ever experienced, of course. You had all that adrenaline going when you were out on the road and you were just flying, and you were, yeah, it was exciting.
We are Americans, part of something larger than ourselves. What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law. Such is a world worthy of our struggle and worthy of our children's future.